Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
Mema wakwaba ede ba PENDREAM TV so make sure say obe subscribe to channel no click bell so say the news to our sabe to me aka ntem no watie afa so make sure say obe like na wa comment no share ama afoforo so nsaka na comment section ho so no opese wo kire wa adwen obetimi ede wa adwen kire ato honom na amanfo so anya bia kenkan na onim say PENDREAM TV there eye nsem a ekoso Ghana yam politics mu ne ede ba na yasaka ya ne ede abranti na so me video I saka pese no che na ye dey ba nti me mo modern astro so obehwe video we amana si awie na wa kire wa adwen e comment section na se yenko na yenko video
2024 ayayen Ashanti region ayayen yakon ekon no ayekon no sayen yedi nkunim a na asa se Ashanti region se yedi obia owo register so 80% omo beto aba bibia ye bekan wo baabia na ekosi fi eno nti ye bibia ye no ye nwuru se ebeboa ama yetumi enyetumi no ana. Ashanti region is our region. Ashanti region is NPP. Ashanti is the most important region, and therefore ye bibiara omo ye no ye metamu echi na yentumi emma party no enjina ewa Ashanti.
What's or say Ashanti region to the NPP is the most important region. It is a we Koni, we are Nkrani, we are Dagombani, we are Sasalani, Aunini, Vantini, Mamprusini. Now what Ashanti memu, why Guinea will say, me twama NPP. The NPP, no, where you're the biggest or the senior most NPP member, or say Ashanti region. So Ashanti region from kwa pie betwa ba, dia kenye hiomo. Enti wu ko ni na oto do kuro no e hia no. Wo enzimani na oto no. De ohia NPP ne se Ashanti fo amo Ashanti region. Ana Ashanti region mo amoti Ashanti region mo fa mo jimi ntuma NPP. Omo aka no. They don't care about where you are from. They only consider Ashanti region. Se sebio Ashanti fo na jimi to my yard. Mo amaka no. Eye nyansa sem na wo ka kire bo no. Enti sa wo ye bununi, sa wo ye kowuni, wo ye nzimani, wo ye awuneni, eye mfantini. Na sa wo nya Asantini na wo ti Asante memo to abama NPP a. O pa kire wo se wo jimi fo na wo to abado wo kurom enye priority ma NPP o. Wo nzimani no wo kurom enye priority ma NPP o. Wo mfantini na wo free mfantimem no wo kurom enye priority o. Wo tani no ukuro menya priority o. Asantimano numbers they are priority to them enye development. Because I'm a way sanko we see hospital asantimemo anko be gina wa kan no ansa na wakasa asantifo yi yanko to aba sebio semponche ema NPP but onye bibia wa asantimemo o ka kire o mo say Asantiman and I say Ashanti region is the most important. How many regions do we have in Ghana? 16 regions. How many people from different regions live in the Ashanti region? All sorts of people from different regions are living in the Ashanti region. But she was specific. Ashanti region in here. Sebi omunya mole for tomorrow. Now kofra mole for ni ma. Also ti asese wonya omo priority. Ashanti region eye NPP priority. Now wana mo na ye Ashanti region no eye nipa amabobo mu din awonafo kowfo bonofo ahantafo eye nzemafo eye nkranfo mo na mo be support asantifo ni bi mo de NPP for wagina power. Now it's not about power no omodi developer asantiman eye asantifo kuma bi a omodi NPP chi no omo to aba sha otumfo ni munyam. You need to get this clear. Do not allow anybody to lie to you. These are the facts. And I'm not going to lie to you about the facts. This is how they do their politics. In terms of focus, and say, Sauti Asantimemu Kwadia. Na sa ompe de NPP ya kwada wo ya Asantini nkwana with all due respect sebio dom kuma na omagimi kakra bi de NPP chomo kwa odi omonko efiri se wo unim nyansa asantimemu na wote. You don't have the brains to decide whether ukrom na ufri no wo bunu ni no wo brekum ni no wo sa ni na wo ya kani na wo nya asante no. They don't care about you or you're specific. Or say Ashanti region is the most important region to NPP. Bunu region is not an important region to them. Upper East is not most important. Central region say a swing state in for there. It is not an important region to them because Jimmy. Now, most central region for without the respect, but we have a sham boss obesi airport. Yes, airport. Commander Sugar Factory. Aye. Amu person mutia say mo amakado mo Jimmy. So what ya santime mo a open puntia to Emma NPP because in puntio no any se menhia si wo. And so your badrimba, this is how you sit. Mentire santi. But because the NPP no afa obi otia santimemu bia se we Jimmy because na adwene say dom kuma kakre bi no mo ya santi from to my NPP no omoma obia in the Ashanti region look so we Jimmy for especially sebio so nya santini na okakasa fofora. This is where the problem is. There are some people in the NPP based there and they don't want to admit to say the NPP is not about Ghana no. And then because the fact is the NPP is not about Ghana. Your nipe bi NPP mwa omoya santifo they know the truth. Say NPP no, it is not about Ghana. It is about nipe bi sebio they feel say they are different. And debi ameka enya santifo nyina na dwene sa. The majority of them no that has been how ye train omo. Ye brainwash omo ya katu omutrim say NPP ne nya kra e wodia enti so almost say Ghana kra gitum because at a point in our history as Ghanaians no time na Ghana for ye prefer wodi 1957 no na ye wo nipa bi a omo free the National Liberation Movement eye party a otumfo wofa e de £700 te ye no sa party a eye de akoto e papa emote ye no eye otumfo kasa ne wofa te party no sa Ochiame akotuna na oyo otumfo ne nananom chiame no. They did not even want independence. And we need to admit because the British Parliament the records are there. Time na Kwame Nkrumah ne Ghana for were crying and mourning and they were all saying say we need independence to make sure we take care of our own affairs no. There were some people are not almost free the liberation movement and the NPP free no. They were also insisting say no. They don't want Ghana to do what? To have omo pese omo ti omo ho. Say abrofo no pese omo ma Ghana independence omo no yenti omo ho matime ho for. They were there. Abrofo no knew it. The Queen of England, who was under pressure to sign and say Ghana is an independent country in 1957. No, the Queen in Parliament, the Speaker of Parliament, when they were reading what the Queen said, the Queen was even shocked. Say how? How can say a country is going to be given independence? A country we have dealt with, a country we have cheated, a country now we believe that they have come of age to take care of their own affairs. There are some group in that country. I almost say, yeah, dear, so Obama Ghana independence to call it a whole country. Yeah, dear, yeah, per se is separate from the whole country. In 1957, when you go into the British Parliament, Oko Omo Archives, the Hansard, you will see it. It was stated clearly. And this was the last statement of the Queen in Parliament, telling parliamentarians to say, we are not going to agree to the National Liberation Movement and those group of people who want their independence alone from Ghana. Because saa time ne etumfo wo famo almost say ma British for ne ma Ghana independence. That's ma Ghana independence dia omo dia omo ti omo ho yemfo omo nko independence momo. Yes, these are facts. Enya adia obi etwa ntra to obi so. You get it? When you go into the archives, let's do this quickly. History. And sometimes history is not comfortable, but we need to do it because why nya? And then history is important. When you go back into history, these are documented, they are available. You can go and search for them. This is the British Parliament. This was in 1957. Ghana Independence Bill, Volume 562. Debated on Tuesday 11 December 1956, a year December, March 1957, and independence. December 1966, the British were discussing this in their parliament. The Queen was about or was ready to make Ghana go as an independent country. In parliament, that is the 11th of December 1956, a year before December 1957, January, in parliament, the Queen was saying, the British were saying, this liberation, national liberation for penny. For the independence. Now, see, the records are there. You can go and read the records for yourself. And no mentality in the NPP. It is not about Ghana. It's about Asante. Now, when you go into the archives and you want to read the documents, I've shown you where the documents are. Go there and read for yourself. UK Parliament, the Hansard is there. Ghana Independence Bill. You can read everything and you know exactly what they said. That was where their stance was. MPP for no more pay independence. No more say a country. They wanted Asante to be a country on its own. What were the remarks of the British? What did the Queen say? How did she feel about it? Now, see. When you read some of the documents, and let me see if I can get one or two for you. When you read some of the documents, this is what it says. Mamin Chow, I'm not going to make things up here. History, we have to do our best to let people know the real history of Ghana. This is British Parliament. Now, already, baby, at the red line, as I said, the National Liberation Movement, the Northern People's Party, and the Asante Council have recently sent formal resolutions to my right honorable friend, the Colonial Secretary, asking for separate independence to be awarded to Ashanti and Northern Territories, and for the appointment of a partition commission to divide up the assets and liabilities of the Gold Coast. Enti saa time I'm free UGMC beti liberation ya de no amokofa eyesrimfo kakra be ka omo ho no. What they did was time 1956 in UK Parliament, Nana Abrofo no ready to sign Ghana off, say omuye independent no. Asante 4 Council, the Asante Council, omune National Liberation Movement baafo akotomo ete no. Omukofa srimfo kakra be ka omo say omo pese ye ti omo ho. They don't want to be part of Gold Coast. These are stuff. It's on record. A British for Parliament. These are the concerns. Asante for him for no any National Liberation Movement. The bromo. So mo the Ghana independence, mama Ghana dia, and the montie hon. Monye yankwaye kuro. We don't want to be part of Ghana because baafo akotomo otumfo osetitumo £700 at the NLM. The records are there. And it's that mentality in NPP tribunal. Because they feel say they are not part of Ghana. They feel say they are bigger than Ghana. They feel say if you are not in the Ashanti region, where Jimmy and then properly from operate and then any motivation. Okay, say Ashanti region is the most important. Into your bunini, we your koni, we your zimani, we your fantini, we your teni, we your unini, we your Ghanani. The party was built on tribalism. They were selective. They don't recognize anybody apart from maybe a party in the from a free. This is British Parliament document. I did not make this up. Now you are getting the picture. Maybe kind of a few of the things that happened in Parliament. UK, December 1956, actually. Now you will now understand why the NPP has brought us here today. Now, the bill which we are discussing today is in itself evidence of the intentions of Her Majesty's government to proceed with the grant of independence of the country as a whole. So Her Majesty, the Queen of England, now that time no, she wanted Ghana to be a Ghana as a whole, Gold Coast as a nation. But now National Liberation Council, the Asante Council, they wrote to our British Parliament and say, we don't want to be part. Afei, so don't listen to these bloggers. They social media. They don't understand what we are doing. And I don't hate Asante for, but I'm setting the record straight and to make nobody think Ghana. Claim say independent. I want afford, you know. Because hey, Kevin, I will prove to you today. the British, the Queen, she knew she did not have full authority on the Volta region. She knew it because from the documentations, they knew, say, the British did not have 100% control on the Volta region, but there was an agreement. Enti, see, at Ghana, Oman also made the Dekesia Pano, Togoland. I want to follow. They are supposed say, yeah, we are not being diabolic. Say, we are not trying to destabilize our democracy. They are supposed to claim their independence. And it's all in British Parliament. This is all in the British Parliament. Mama can be in jail. What transpired? This is 1966 December. Now see, make sure some of the records in some of the kind of parliament, British Parliament, before the Queen, after 3 months, all issues are Ghana, British for you, say free. Now read it, baby, I read in the starting now. And I quote, Her Majesty's government do not consider that the partition of the Gold Coast is in the interest of the Gold Coast as a whole or of any of its component parts and cannot abandon their established policy which is directed towards the grant of independence to the Gold Coast as a whole. Almost say, Queen say, San Seminar Santamai Council, NLM for Nekano, or when say a almost selfish interest. It is not in the interest of Ghana. We're British Brunei, British Parliament. These are records. It's not Queen will say, now you're there now Santafo, any LM4, any side group Kituano, they want their only interest. Abra, the holistic interest of Ghana, no, they don't care. I am not saying this. These are words of the Queen in British Parliament in 1956. 4 months, and 1957. 57, and independence. So this is 1956, December. January 57. February 57. March 7th. And independence. And you need to understand, say, the British Crown Parliament, they were shocked. They were like, Queen, no, these are the Queen's statement. That is why it is quoted. Or say, why should I, at this point, make you people as Antifon Kwa, NLM Kwa, a nation, and then the rest, the the Gold Coast. The Queen was like, these people are selfish. Now you are getting the drift. These are facts. These are facts. Oko British Parliament. They are there. Go there and read. Kevin Taylor, Udima Tama, and Kobe Bia, because I'm showing you the facts. Go and search for yourself. Go and read everything. And then you will understand why we are here. NPP for someone Tiasie. Ghana no, I was here the man Nipakuobi. That is not how it's supposed to be. Ghana is supposed to be governed by all of us. And nitina amanfobi tuaba, they are not voting for the development of Ghana. So ko to obi na sebio ebi mu mo asantime mu no omo kasa no mo tuaba for asanteman mensia revenge against Ghana. Asantifo bi, they have a personal issue with Ghana. It is not because they wanted to be independent. And a British force said that be that. Go to be a tamu kruma in the name of Ghana. A DBA in the name of Asantemai. So why at this crucial moment? Now, this is what the Queen said. Her Majesty's government are now proceeding with the preparation of the necessary constitutional instruments, having regard to the circumstances of the Gold Coast and the efforts which were made to reach agreement locally. The grant of independence to the Gold Coast is an act of goodwill which Her Majesty's government trusts will be received by the people of the Gold Coast in a spirit of responsibility which will command. So the Queen was like, no, my government, we are ready to hand Ghana, to give them their right, to let them be independent, not some part of Ghana. Enti se nkebo careless anka nipa kuokitu bi mfi LNM eye otu for party that £700 tie no ene nipa kuokitu bi obufi Asanteman Council yebo careless anka Ghana was going to be split. Se enye broni na ono an nyansem ohun say Ghana needs to be Ghana as a whole and a Gold Coaster anka ndem no ka say anka krowe anka peace bitarim. Now let me show you a few things where British Parliament, I am not making it up. Go and read it for yourself. Remember, make things up. That is what you have to do. Into Uba, honorable members will be aware that the different parts of the country are independent both politically and economically. Indeed, the North and the South are complementary to one another. To sever would be to cripple. Bronini said, Omo who said Ghana no, krobia, ekura omu nyina sebi omudin sawoso. Free North, South, East, especially the North and the South. Now see, say omu be twa Ghana mu no, not just a Ghana no sebi omu dina bro. Or see, to sever would be to cripple. Say omu twa Ghana ni bi ebe ni kura na omu bokuro no bo. Omu bonase. Na so omu dwirega kuro no sebi omu ma ekuro no ayeden ayebubuani. Just say literally no person ka kira say nka omu twa Ghana ni bi, omu twa Santima ni kwa free Ghana mu ebe ye ni kuro a omu say Ghana. Broni adwirimu no o se ye twa baby kura ketewa bi say we di omo ka Ghana ho na yama the other part independence na broni na adwirimu no wasai kuro ni nyina. And inti the Queen, Her Majesty said no. Now you are getting it. So na Ashanti Council NLM no 24 nana edi 7 ne wo for the £700 tea no any small group no they didn't want a whole independence. And then I translate here bedru your politics more and the free more pare it be Ghana nim say oh Ashanti man kwan here other regions in here you were 16 regions in Ghana. How can you just stand at one place as a politician and say Ashanti man kwan here omo makano? But in the Ashanti region you were different people from different regions joining the Ashanti region. Without the effort of other tribes in the Ashanti region cannot stand on its feet. It will collapse in a day. I don't hate Ashanti for. I am setting the record straight. Mema Ghana for who are the Kudienta NPP near the Omo. They don't care. They have Ashanti Manko 47 MPs. Development beyond Ashanti, they don't care because they feel say they are entitled. I was say Ghana de Mamo. I was say you chat Matimo Hono and no one free by we're British Parliament. In Tiboko da Mombom Payama Queen now we no because she loved the Gold Coast. She didn't love some part of the Gold Coast. Listen, Mokoda Mumbom Payama, the queen who died, she loved the Gold Coast. She didn't love some part of the Gold Coast. If she was selfish and she didn't care more about the people who did not have that power down there, she would have said, I don't care, but she was looking at the holistic picture. She was looking at the ideology and the people who are willing to work together as a people, as one. So she was like, I am not going to cut any part of this country and make it independent. I am going to give the country to them. They should build it as a people. And it's a you will see, so say, the partition of the country at this stage in its history, moreover, would not only inhibit further development and progress, but would mean a serious falling back in the standards of life which the country has done so much to achieve during the past 4 years. In the past few years, the Queen understood. Say, Anka Matimo Honon Komutia Asantiman Council ni NLMA, Anka the development na ya Chokabedu 1957 na Omobe handi over your independence. They knew the country would have broken down again. The Queen knew. She had been visiting Ghana when she was young, 17, 18 years. She knew that the moment you take a piece out because of some people's selfish interest, you are basically going to collapse the nation. And no na I translate ya bedu NPP ne. So as much as the Queen wasn't the perfect human being, at least she had a good heart. I don't agree. Said the white people enslaved our people, took our gold, took our resource. I don't agree. And I always say it's despicable, and I'll not sit here and say Abrofaya idea, but I can tell you for a fact, she had a good heart. She actually saw Ghanaians as one people. She didn't see them as different people because of their language. And that is the only thing. If this woman had been selfish and very, 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 very evil-minded, but today, it is still showing. NPP minister, NPP or say NPP. That is where the whole thing is. So it is not about the development of Ghana. They think, say, they are entitled. And I say they think, some of them in the Ashanti region, they think, say, they are entitled. They ekroni omodia. Inti sebio, se party ni mwa ekra, na ye pese ye tin yon dada. Inti mubetuma se ekrono. That is the idea. And inti obitumi soreka se, me sum otumfo, you have the right. But at the end of the day, Otumfuo share the constitution of Ghana. Say. So wosum Otumfuo, it is right. So wosum Domahenia, it is right. But at the end of the day, Ohini bi Ghana bia worships the constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Nobody is higher than the constitution of Ghana. And we need to think holistic. We are supposed to stop thinking like children, kids who are always picky. Okay? In the parliament, there are a few things I want to read to you. You will understand where we are, why we need to come together as a people. We should put aside that silly tribal nonsense. And then I say, Chrono. Now, this is British Parliament. These are the records. Now, already baby a red mark in the one. What's your Osla no bikano? And then Osla betra TV so can say, yeah, GMine. And now Refi, Osla catch them say, yeah, GMine. And yeah, Asano can one kind of track cool. Asano can one kind of track cool. There was a reason. Or see a GMine. Because they have always have that mentality. Say Ghana ne yomudia. Baumia Jinaha, Ekufuadu Jinaha, yeah, GMine. She was not just saying it. She believes in it because they are entitled. Now already baby a red mark. What does it say? This is what it says. It says this. Okoto, all right, I hear you. Ochina, Okoto will tell Ghanaians about the contribution of Buzia. Ochina, a year 6:30 p.m. Ghana time. You can catch Okoto on Loud Silence TV. Obeba bechom the contribution of Buzia. Ebia unim. What Buzia? Ochina meet in Koto 6:30 Ghana time. Loud Silence TV. So Obeba bechom the contribution of Buzia. Now you understand Ghana politics. Obabe Juju Machro. Don't mess in Koto. Obetuma follow on Facebook in Koto or in Koto 101 on YouTube. Free Mind will come in the morning to do more damage. This is why we study Ghana. Do not think so be time will be. We are letting you know the fact. Don't mess tomorrow. Ochina in Koto on Facebook. NKOTO. Obetshrow the contribution of Buzia in all this. Now you understand why we are here today. Now, already document where look at where they have marked it red. No? And let me read it from the top. For more than 30 years, Her Majesty's government have administered the trust formally mandated territory of British Togoland as an integral part of the Gold Coast, as it was entitled to do under the terms of the trusteeship agreement. I'm saying for more than 30 years, where a British Parliament to Hansa Dame Kaichrono, British Bruni Nekasano, and Nitina Western Togoland, if we do some time on my charge. If you say, yeah, can Ghana, Oman also, Omakasa Ghana, or some Tio Muyo Mukura, a Western Togoland for. Inti Kandapa in 2020, Esma, National Security Kuku, they deserve hearing. We need to hear people out. And I don't condone them separating themselves from Ghana. Never. But people deserve hearing. We need to hear them out. We need to hear, say, if they have a statement, if they have a case. And these are things we do to build a nation. Utie almost story now. This is the Queen's statement. For more than 30 years, Her Majesty's government have administered the trust formally mandated territories of British Togoland as an integral part of the Gold Coast, as it was entitled to do under the terms of the trusteeship agreement. So the British themselves recognized the Western Togoland and Wunafono as the integral part of Ghana. And they had Omonkwani the only people the British signed an agreement with. That before the British can make Ghana a whole nation, they will need to sit with them and then make sure that the agreement, either say Obia fulfill the part and son a bit my Ghana at the Awunafodi in account. So if today somebody is from the Western Togoland and Awunamuno can say, yeah, I'll say a tier one. It is all about dialogue. We need to let people understand. We need to sit. Yeah, and send it police ni soldiers because even when you go into the British Parliament document, it is clearly stated by the Queen. They had an agreement with Awunafono. Awunafono Kwani, the only people that the British could not take complete day over because they had to sit. Awunafono Mahmoud Yomusa Chokratasi. Now, when you go on and you read, I say 2 years ago, Her Majesty government informed the United Nations that after the attainment of independence by the Gold Coast, this arrangement will no longer be constitutionally possible. And the United Nations accordingly agreed last year that a plebiscite should be held to ascertain the view of the inhabitants on the future status of the trust territory. So the British went to UN to tell them, say, yani angunafo we a contract be a sign. Sa contract yanhwe ye ya sign any independence magana. Omo individual one sha enka omo. Into sad no you solve that problem no, because they can come back and tell you there is a contract. And that it clearly states that they basically were not under the British full control. These are documents, these are facts. It's for the Kandapa to send Ghanaians to go and kill their fellow Ghanaians because they are stating the obvious. When you go into the British Parliament, it is there. It is because I don't think people in the Volta region today want to be a country. They just want to be heard. They want people to understand that some people cannot sit in the south and boast. They even have more rights to say nobody has that 100% control over them. These are the facts. And it is not about somebody's wearing suit. These are record. These are on the record. British Parliament. Now when you move ahead, it says this. And the United Nations accordingly agreed last year that a plebiscite should be held to ascertain the view of the inhabitants on the future status of the trust territory. Inti UN for catch British for say monko ho na monni omonko tenase. Omo mo amna awuna memu no na mo so buntie omo. De omo wo kan was ade we ho. Did they do it? Did they overlook it? Did they ignore the views of the inhabitants? Yes. These are the things. We should not suppress people because they want to be heard. We should not deliberately try and make it look like say nipe bi nya Ghana for. And it's if NPP for no I wanna for nya Ghana for. Omo Ghana for. Omo no metuma say Ghana's democracy if they want to. And the United Nations cannot fight them because the documents are there. So for these people to hold their tongue all these years and admit to say, even though these are clear violations of our rights, we still believe say we can work with Ghanaians. Now, we need to applaud them. We need to give them that respect because these people, they can at the end of the day destabilize our democracy. Yes. So we are not supposed to sit in Ghana and feel say nipe bi Jimmy, nipe bi moi, nipe bi. No, we are supposed to see or be a contribution to the development of this country. Now, who read the other paragraph? I'll say this plebiscite, which was held under United Nations auspices in May 1956, resulted in a clear majority vote in favor of the union of the territory with an independent Gold Coast. And in July of this year, the Trusteeship Council passed. So basically, there was an agreement. So nobody should have a problem with Awunafono. Because even Ashanti for 1% independence because so now Ashanti for person it's in Ghana today more case but who are the people who are most one amona yatata more Ghana more I wanna for no yembu mo poso be nipa JJ Ron so winning 1992 now go to a strategy be atia wanna for Ghana. Yes, he was the president. He could have made some people petition him. So I want they have been disrespected and come to my presence. Oh, I don't know anything. These people brought a petition to Parliament that they are not part of Ghana. Then Albeka, but he did not agree to that. Even though he knew his people have grievances, he was like, "Let us still build." How do you come to power and you can power? What's my soldier for Makoba on a foot too because they want to be heard? Today you have jailed about 15 of them. I didn't because they want to be heard. Now can the power be due by a bell there? Obicho Bano Boni Tributu a bell there. Edian Kwasia mine and watch it. And as we speak, some people have been jailed because Kandapa and NPP for say, they want to overthrow Kufuado. Jimmy. Now just as uncle from the jail illegally, no. Matwa ebe omode. A day will come. Omumabechi to Kandapa to one of a bull Timutos, we jailing papa. You have destroyed their lives. Lives. because of politics, stupidity, jiminti. We have destroyed people's life. Now, I'm reading a debin chro. Me chamo history no. It is almost a NPP for Kasasa, NPP for SR, deliberate. They don't regard Ghana's independence. As Santifoni Bido, they do not regard it. Results in a clear majority vote in favor of the nation union of the territory with an independent Gold Coast. And in July of this year, the Trusteeship Council passed a resolution noting that the will of the majority of the inhabitants was for union with an independent Gold Coast, and recommending, and I quote, that appropriate steps be taken in consultation with the administration authority of the termination of the trusteeship agreement for the territory to become effective upon the attainment of independence by the Gold Coast. So the idea was simple. Fine. We come together, even though we can say crew, but because of unity, together. By any hour for the person say together, our due respect and our due was a Ghana de Mayan or some de Mao. It is a record. This is the British Parliament. Independence we be seen there. We are even telling them so omu Togo for Mahmoud Baumia Jimmy for ebe year in 2015 or say I wanna for free Togo the betwaba abroad no Baumia on Ghana ni. These are facts. I am not making this up. These are facts. Oh, Kevin Taylor, I have shown the message to baby who can Ghana problem. Yeah, GM, always all kind of qua. They have it. Now, when you read the lower part, it says this. The recommendation was approved by the 4th Committee of the General Assembly on 5th December, and it is expected that it will be endorsed by the General Assembly during its present session and before 6th March 1957. So these documents were supposed to be done. These agreements were supposed to be reached before Kwame Nkrumah declaring Ghana as an independent country. Did they do it? No. So when the young people in Water Region, Western Togoland say, we want to be heard, have they done anything wrong? Today in Ghana, you were Ghana for 30,000. They don't give them the opportunity to vote. Does it give them the right to rise up and say they want to be independent? Yes. I am being honest with you here. Benjamin, Tiano Onko for omu timi nka wenchiro omu nima de omu nim nyansa omu ni ghost team papa omu ni good production team me wi achiro baby akwa kan no. Now let me show you this without wishing to go into more detail than I need. This is British Parliament. There are some points which I must draw the attention of the House. First, there is the name Ghana. First, there is the name Ghana. This has been conferred on the new country in accordance with local wishes. It was the name of an ancient kingdom in what is now French territory south of Sahara, which has acquired great historic significance in the Gold Coast. So that is where Ghana name was derived from. Now we go to the second paragraph. Next to call for special mention is the first proviso to clause 1. This explains that the bill will not apply, and I quote, in relations to Togoland and the United Kingdom trusteeship until Her Majesty so provides by order in council, which shall be made as soon as practicable after provision has been made for termination of the trusteeship agreement for that territory upon its union with an independent Gold Coast. So the British, after they basically came into Parliament to say the Ashanti, the traditional council, Ashantiman council, the NLM, for Kanina, they will not agree. Then they officially said Ghana. Edia, yene dia bro mo say, ye pese ye free one Ghana. Now it's a historical name, a free Sahara ha yenyankasa oba echia, or say was the name of an ancient kingdom in what is now French territory south of Sahara, which has acquired great historic significance in the Gold Coast. So we picked the name, It was a wish of the people for Gold Coast to be called Ghana. Now, they made you understand to say they were still in negotiation with the Western Togoland people, even though they are granting Ghana as a whole, including the Volta region and those people as Gold Coast, now Ghana. They are still working the documentations out with the Western Togoland people. So technically, as we sit here, we don't have full control of their own affair. But they have lived, they have abided by the law, they have reasoned with us, they have come to accept that they cannot destroy this nation by always saying that we want to be independent. They have agreed that we are all one people. But have we shown that respect back? Ghana yomudia.